Hey everybody, Andy here. Happy Thursday, live office hours show, helping you build a career you love. Today we got a great package for you. I'm going to give you my state of the markets, what I see, how I see it going on, and what it means to you. If you're here with me live, great to have you. Get in the chat, say hi. Let me know who you are. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions so I can find them if you're here live with me, so we can get to the Q&A after the teaching portion of this. If you're a leader of mine, let me know. If you're in my job search coaching program and you are a boot camper, let me know that too. Love to see everybody. And I'm really excited for this one. I really, really am. Looks like everything is good, so I'm diving right in. What's today all about? Well, about a year ago, actually it was March 19th, 2020, when we finally recognized, this pandemic is going to be a real problem. I completely revamped what I was about to teach you, what I was going to do over the course of the next few months, because I knew you were going to need some different kind of teaching. And before I wanted to teach it to you, I wanted to tell you what I thought the world was going to look like. What industries were going to thrive, which ones were going to take a nosedive, what was going to happen to your jobs, everything from how you were going to have to adjust the way you were interviewing. You were going to have to get used to doing this, right? So all of that is there if you want to go back and see if it was accurate, or you could just zip down and look at the comments for people who've been watching that stuff a year later and what they had to say about it. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you, now that we're a year into this, and I'd like to say coming out of this, right? It's going to linger for a while, but hopes are high and people are getting vaccinated. So I want to share with you what I'm seeing in the different markets, how they're going to affect employment, what that's going to mean for employers in the way in which they recruit, who they hire, and what that means to you. And if you are running your own business, or if you are happy in your job, this all is going to apply, because there are going to be adjustments that are going to be made, choices you're going to need to make. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I didn't know I was going to do this today. So if you're here with me live, it's Thursday, what used to be tax day in the US, April 15th. You might be watching this on a recording on a Tuesday or something like that when we re-release the clip. But I got my first vaccination shot last Saturday, and I wrote you an email about this and what it meant to me, and so I'm in Illinois. You know, I was not eligible to get the shot until recently. You know, finally they dipped down into my age bracket, so I made my appointment and I went to go into the center to get my shot. And as I was about to get my shot, I'm a watcher, so I like to look. You know, when I give blood, I look at the needle. I'm all for that stuff. And there was this woman, Mary, and she was going to administer the shot, and she was about to give me the shot, and I thought to myself, you know, I'm watching her as she's putting this needle in my arm. It's like she's moving in slow motion, although my guess is she was probably about to jab me pretty quickly. And it was like scenes out of like a movie. There was all these scenes that flashed before my eyes, and I thought about my dogs as they race out of their crate every time I open it. I think about my wife every single day telling me to hurry up and go get my shot because she wants to go travel. I think about my family who I want to visit on the West Coast in the U.S. I have a lot of siblings and nieces and nephews and in-laws out there. I thought about last week, 80% of my coaching sessions with people in my boot camp program were about how do I deal with all of these job offers. I'm not kidding you. 2, 3, 4 job offers for some of these folks. 8 out of 10 of those were addressing that kind of issue, so to speak. And I was thinking about you all and what the changes you're going through and what we're seeing as you go to the job market. And I thought about the summer, and I thought about why August was going to be such a difficult month to actually get a job. All that happened in seconds. And I'll share with you what that, collage of stuff meant to me, but it was fairly emotional, and it was as if I was seeing what we were about to encounter. And I thought, all right, so I came back home, I jotted a few notes, which is something I normally do because I like to unload the stuff as I see it. And then Sunday when I got up, I sketched out this talk and this talk, and actually tomorrow's talk for people in my premium coaching session. And so, I got the shot, these scenes went through my head. I sat down in the chair because I was going to wait the 15 minutes to make sure that I didn't have a reaction to the shot. And I pulled up my phone. Like, I want to see, now that I'm getting the shot, and I've been semi-paying attention to what's been happening, but I haven't been looking, at the charts like I normally do, at the housing markets, at the stock markets, at the jobs markets, which I normally pay attention to on a monthly basis. But I whip up my phone and I start looking at how many people got their vaccination shot today. 3.4 million on the day I got it, or the day before I got it, I should say. How many people got it the days before that, leading up to that? It says rolling weekly average was 3 million people per day in the U.S. I'm thinking that's 100 million people in the next month. Let's say things go well. There's only so many hundreds of millions of people in the United States, and while I don't know what's going on in every other country, this is a pretty good trend. And then I'm thinking about, well, how many people are already vaccinated? 20%. And then how many people are partially vaccinated like I am? 33%. So these numbers are starting to climb. And I was feeling energetic. It was literally for the first time that it actually hit me that we are coming out of this, because it became real for me. Now, you may have discovered this previously, or you still may not be there yet, but either which way, I'm telling you, this is what happened to me. So I started to look at trends in the markets, because I want to figure out, well, what's been happening, right? I've been coaching my job candidates, clients, people in the Mile Walk Academy. We've been tactical, we've been prescriptive, we've been helping them in those cases, but I wanted to really try to start to see were we going to be encountering any trends. So I get my phone. Now, when I didn't need this for what I'm about to tell you, I didn't need my phone for this. The stock market, now, by the way, put your checkbooks away. I'm not dispensing any financial advice here, so no, you ain't pinning that on me. I'm telling you that in my experience, as I've watched the markets through my life, basically there's two real things that drive them: sentiment and interest rates. Forget fundamentals for a second. While fundamentals might drive stock prices and valuations and things of that nature in the long run, in the short run, it's usually about how people feel and what the interest rates are. Interest rates are pretty low. They're dang low. I can't remember them ever being this low for this long. And sentiment is starting to lift up. So, okay, so far so good. Then I started to think about the housing market. Now, I've been in my house for about 4 years. I don't watch my house value go up and down. I'm not one of those people. I don't really care. I don't really care what the neighbor sold their house for and any of that stuff. But I thought the housing market is going to affect the job seekers. So I want to get a better understanding of what's actually happening. So I look at the housing market. You may or may not know this, but inventory of homes is at an all-time low. This matters to you, and I'll bring this together for you as we get later in the talk. But inventory is at an all-time low. Most houses are selling within a week. So then I go back a week or so. Beginning of April, numbers show that 42% of homes are selling for more than their asking price. That's pretty interesting, right? Interest rate borrowing rates are super low. I refinanced my house last summer to some ridiculous low rate I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, my neighbor, now I'm thinking, all right, close to home examples. My neighbor, interesting story, his name's Mark. Now, I've known Mark since about 2005 or 2006, and really funny story is I recruited him into the job that he is in right now in 2008. So he's been there for 13 years or so. And 4 years ago, I happened to move next door to him. Okay, really funny, haha. Okay, so he's a single dad, he's got 3 boys. 2 of the boys are kind of college-y age, and one of them is about to be a senior in high school. We pay these ridiculous taxes in where I live, and there's no need if your kids, unless you're a LaCivita or your kids don't go to school, I wouldn't be paying these taxes. So he decides, hey, I might think about putting my house on the market. So the resident real estate agent who's in our little cul-de-sac area here, who actually sold me this house, she says to Mark, well, why don't we just kind of put it on the private listing? Maybe I'll toss it on my Facebook page. Let's see what we can, what happens, what kind of reaction we get. Now, Mark's got a brand new deck and he's got a fully new remodeled basement. He didn't even bother to put those pictures up online. The front lawn is a bit in shambles. A lot of that's going to need to be replaced. Just go with the old pictures from 12 years ago and put them up and see what happens. First buyer comes in, this woman, and she said she and husband, they give Mark an offer. He says, no. He's the first person that looked at this house. I wasn't even emotionally ready to sell it, but I appreciate your offer. They came back the next day. They said, we'll give you full asking price for it. Husband didn't even bother looking at the basement, and boom, house is sold. Literally, just like that, no stress. Now, this stuff is going to matter to you. It really is. You need to know this if you are considering moving or considering a job in a different city or state. These things are going to matter. So then I start to look at the job trends. And I don't know if you know this, but between 2009 and 2019 was the largest single job expansion in the history of it ever being recorded. It was the greatest economic upswing for most consecutive months ever. And COVID in 2020 literally wiped out every single job that had been created in the previous 10 years. Okay, so think about that. That pissed me off, right? Because this isn't 2001 where the bubble was hollow and people were creating these companies that had absolutely no intrinsic value, the dot-com bubble, where they were going public or they were selling them. They weren't even profitable. They basically made nothing. And I'm not talking about that. That we deserve to take a shot in the jaw when we do stuff like that. But the last 10, 11 years, we worked hard. The fundamentals are sound. The stock market is good. The valuations are fine, and people and business owners and companies were creating those jobs through sweat. Okay, there's a very, very big difference in the recovery period of something that was foundationally solid, where something as extrinsic as COVID occurs and wipes it out just like that, and wipes out industries. And a lot of you probably watched me for a long time, right, during those days. As you were starting to look for a job because you were suddenly out of a job and you didn't have any clue that that was going to happen weeks prior. So you think about all these things, and was it mean to you? Well, I'm telling you that my guess is we are about to experience the biggest boom. Maybe that. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I had to guess, I'm guessing that this is going to be something like what happened after World War II, because you have to consider, history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme, right? So you have to consider what were the factors that were going on at that time. So I told you about my dogs, right? So here I am. This is my office. That's the breakfast room, we call it, and then the kitchen is that way. And their little crate sits there, and whenever I leave the house, they like being in the crate. It's their safe place. It doesn't matter if they're in the crate 10 minutes. It doesn't matter if they're in the crate 4 hours. It doesn't make any difference. When I come home, I open that thing up, I open the gate, and they race out. And they run 10 feet, and they stop, and they turn around, and they look at me. Because they don't know if we're going for a walk, or the porch potty, or if we're going to the food bowls, or if we're coming into Daddy's office. Right? But they blitz out like caged crazy animals, which they are. I mean, it's nuts. And that's kind of how I'm thinking the world is today, right? We're emotionally frustrated. We're pent up, cooped up. We're missing our friends. We're missing our family. We're missing traveling. We're missing seeing different things. And so I think the next handful of months, 3 months are, I normally tell you January and February are great times to be looking for work. But I'm telling you that I think April, May, June, and July are going to be really, really good months. for some industries in particular. And I think by the time August rolls around, as people have started to get their vaccination shots and they wait that customary 2-week period to feel better, I was not willing to get on a plane. I will not take any chances. I always tell my wife, my people need me. I can't go down, and I realize everybody's life's different and everybody's family situation is different, and some of you have to get on planes, but I didn't want to do that. Right? So I think there's a lot of people like me, and once they feel more comfortable, they'll start traveling again. And I also think that people that are working, that are now getting their shots, they're going to start taking their vacations over the summer. A lot of them are going to take them in August, which is actually a common time to take them anyway, because the kids are about to go back to school. So we've got this surge of emotion. We've got healthy markets in general, or ones that should be popping back quickly. We've got just people that are excited to start seeing their family and friends again. And we've got people who've not been on vacation in a long time, and they got Zoom fatigue and all that other stuff that they're dealing with. So what does this all mean? Well, I want to give you my observations on what industries and markets I think are going to thrive, and some things that I want you to be careful with and explore or not, depending on your preferences. So let's get into that. And I hope you guys are as excited about this stuff as I am, because I think we're in for something, dare I say, special. I really do. All right, so let's get into what I think about. Hang on, let me just make sure everything is okay. Let me get into what I think about the industries. All right, so what does this mean? So I got note cards today. I had to write them vertically today, but okay, there's obvious ones, right? Okay, these are the obvious ones. All right, and by the way, a lot of what I'm going to tell you today is probably not going to blow you over. If you look at things, you will draw these conclusions. What I'm hoping happens is either you didn't take the time to think about it and I put a little spotlight, or I illuminated it for you, or what I'm guessing what a lot of you are going to say is, yeah, that makes sense, but you won't say that until after I say what I'm going to say. So just roll with me on these, but here's the obvious ones, right? Pharma, IT, green energy, and government. These are big ones. The government, we have a lot of cleaning up to do. I paid my taxes today. A lot of people aren't paying their taxes for a month, but I think a lot of, the personal protection, employment loans, we've got all kinds of things that have occurred because of COVID, and the government is going to have to clean some of this up, and they're going to have to work a little extra hard to do that. New programs they've put in place. Every single thing that I do, I had to get some charges cleaned up on a credit card. Okay, now I'm dealing with Chase, my bank, except that the Chase folks have had a domino effect, because all the people that were working in the credit card department, some of them had to be reallocated to the employment loan department, and things were taking longer, and my bankers are communicating with me. Like, there's a domino effect. Well, a lot of this goes back to regulations that the government has put in place, or programs that the government has allowed. So you need to remember that. Okay, so these are some of the obvious ones. If you're looking in these areas, you're in good shape. Okay, if you are anything, can I get a shout? All the ladies, and I'll go right there with you. Are you tired of wearing yoga pants? Right? I have to decide what color sweats I'm going to wear on any given day, and I'm a little tired of it. I haven't bought a pair of jeans that I couldn't tell you how long. I got to buy myself some t-shirts because you guys see me every day, so I have to wear different colors. But can I get a hallelujah for revenge shopping, right? Like, are we going to go out and go nuts? Now, this is actually an interesting phenomenon, right? Fashion itself should pick up, fashion industry, but retail as it relates to fashion, and retail as it relates to other stuff. You're going to start going out and buying stuff you don't need. And why are you going to do that? Well, number one, you're tired of being cooped up. You want some new stuff. Okay, this is some totally emotional purchases, right? I'm going to buy things that I probably don't need, but I'm just a little tired of not having anything new in my life, and I just want, I want a little something for Andy kind of thing. My wife's really good at it. It doesn't matter, pandemic, hurricane, it makes no difference. She's always, she should be teaching you how to shop. But think about this. People are going to be in malls. I couldn't tell you the last time I was actually in a store looking at a shirt. Now, people are probably going to go to stores just to go to stores. Okay? They're going to be breezing around, window shopping, so to speak. When you're in the store, you buy stuff you don't need. So I think there's going to be a huge revenge shopping, imprint that it's going to be out there. So those of you that are in retail, thinking about getting into retail, thinking about getting into fashion, those kind of things, I think there will be huge upswing here, right? Amazon's always going to be there, but it ain't the same when I go in and you can try it on and see how it looks on you, right? Isn't it a little bit of a bummer when you get that shirt, right, in the Amazon box and you put it on and it doesn't look as good as you thought it would, right? That kind of stuff. All right, how about the communal stuff? Anything communal related that took major hits, okay? Live events. These could be, well, they could be like weddings and stuff, but it could be conferences, seminars, and those kind of things, right? Event planning is gonna come back quickly. Bars and restaurants, theaters, right? Weddings. I know 4 different people that went to 4 different weddings this last weekend. Now, this is starting to tick up, even though a lot of people are not really vaccinated fully. I think what's still happening right now is people are starting to move over to these things because they're probably less expensive. Maybe they've gotten moved from a year ago. A couple of these weddings were replacement date weddings. Some of them were out and out new, and they're like, well, we could have, my niece could have done it, but it was like half the cost of what they think it's going to be in the summer, so they wanted to get the wedding in, kind of thing. So I think you're going to see a lot of the communal stuff. And I also that all the get me out of the house stuff, right? So not everything that took a hit a year ago is going to swing back the same way. Hospitality, the hotels, all that good stuff. My wife texts me every day, can we make a trip to wherever? I'm so jealous our friends are guys like, listen, not until after I'm fully vaccinated and after, I don't even want to think about it. I got stuff, we're busy at work, right? Leisure travel is going to be a big deal. Business travel is going to go up, but it's not going to go up back to where it was normally for obvious reasons, right? We'll talk about this in a minute. Airlines, automobiles, other things like that. I think those are going to all have huge upticks in the upcoming months. However, I don't know if you guys, you ever, I know I talk a lot, but there was a story I gave you about when I watched the sunset in Hawaii. Many years ago, I was there with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and the one evening I sat out there in Kauai and I was looking at the sun set, and it was really awesome. And then the next day I went out there, I was on the beach and I had my Talisker and my cigar and I watched the sunset, and now I can never watch the sunset without the cigar and the scotch or the martini or the whatever. And my barometer was changed, right? Because I can't unsee that anymore. I can't, right? I now have a new barometer, right? My new normal, I hate the expression, but for watching the sunset. Well, also, the similar thing happens for a lot of you. You know that same thing with employers, right? So what I would say is, on the one hand, get me out of the house, right? That applies. But on the other hand, I would say not so fast, because I want to work from home. And working from home has a domino effect. So it's not that, oh, well, the employers now have a new normal and they know that their people could be at home and they could be working productively. Yeah, that's just something that they should have known before but never tried. Okay, I'm talking now. You're at home, and you're at home a lot more. I know people who are remodeling bedrooms to make them offices, right? I know people who are moving homes because they want to go to another home because it has an office like this, right? A big reason why I bought this house was because it had this office, and I envisioned all of this. Well, a lot of people that are now doing more work from home, what are they doing? So they're constructing, right? Or they're building new homes, or they're buying new homes and building them the way they want, or, right? Remodeling the home office, right? We already talked about the gyms in the house. I now have a whole pain cave in my basement that I didn't have say a year and a half ago, but we really put, I mean, everything's in there. The treadmill, my bike, my wife's Peloton, all the weights, all the stuff, all the things we can hang from the wall, whatever. Like, right, all that stuff is changed. But so has the sentiment about working from home and the physical constructs that need. So the construction industry, if you're in real estate, now commercial real estate, I mentioned a year ago, was going to take a hit. I still stand by that because I think commercial real estate is different than houses. So I do think that if you're in real estate, you're selling homes, those kind of things, refinancing and all that other good stuff, that's gonna continue to thrive. So those are some areas. And then I would also tell you that I'm just a white collar kid from a blue collar neighborhood. And, I have a soft spot in my heart for the manufacturing sector and the supply chain sector. And it's probably my engineering background and that I'm APIC certified or whatever. But things that are manufactured products, there are things that I wanted to buy that production lines slowed down because they weren't absolute necessities. They're just things I used a lot of. So what was happening from a supply chain standpoint was a lot of things were going to JIT and more just in time. Now what I would tell you is I think the supply chains are going to change and they're going to go more to the JIC, just in case. So little inventory surpluses, but I do think supply chain and logistics operations are going to go up. I think product manufacturing is going to go up. I don't think that's a huge shock, but I do think that these are sectors that, well, they're paramount in everything that we do. So I think that we rely on them so that they are gonna thrive. So those are some areas. Not yet, there were a lot more. But I wanted to try to tie this together to my observation in some of the markets and how these were going to affect you. Now I want to shift the talk and I want to move into, okay, well, all right, Andy, that's great. But what does that mean for me when I get into the interviews? Now I've got two waves here. One wave I'm going to give you today, and then one wave I've saved for my private group coaching tomorrow. I really want to talk about things I want you to make sure you're paying attention to and that you are remembering as you go into interviewing processes and you get down to the end of interviewing processes, and the way in which you search for and based on your requirements include or eliminate opportunities. Okay, so let's roll into that. Can I get I've been talking for a long time. Can I get a hey from my team that all is good and everybody's still with me and there's people here and somebody's listening to me? All right, let's talk about some of the shift with the employers. All right, now this is not, we always like the remedial stuff to start. All right, many employers are going to want the WFH people, right? The work from home people. You know this already. The more remote ready you are in situations where employers are going to continue to stay remote, you're going to be in great shape. I know I get a question a lot about, well, Andy, should I add that I work remotely on my resume, or should I put, that these were remote positions and this and that? You can put that on your resume. I don't know that it's going to make a huge hill of beans of difference. You could put in your career profile or somewhere, in your resume that you are, you're fully remote operational or whatever. But I do want you to be able to, as you are looking at opportunities, make note of, I didn't say eliminate or add or whatever, just make note of, are they actually advertising a work from home position? And I'm gonna tell you in a few numbers why that's so important. Okay, so that's probably not anything that you don't already know. And this is something else that I have been preaching forever. And I really was preaching it last March, April, May, and so on. But I'm really still preaching it now. And I want you to be super careful about your target company list. And on this point here, I want you to keep it as wide as possible. So even if you have particular requirements about where you want to live, what industries you want, whether you're willing to travel, whether you're not willing to travel, and all that other stuff, I want you to go as wide as possible with your target company list, and I want you to filter it on the back end, meaning don't eliminate a company because the job description says travel 50%. We're located in Wichita, Kansas. You need to be here. Okay? Don't do that. I would still 100% go at companies like this, because companies are about to go through a rude awakening and a shuffling of people based on what companies are and are not willing to do as it relates to their flexibility with their employees. That is a huge point. Okay, you have to realize this is paramount. Organizations are going to lose people because of changes they're making, which opens up slots for those of you like you who are probably looking to find a position. So let's get in a little bit more detail. I want you to keep your list wide. Keep it really wide, okay? As much as possible. Filter them out on the back end. And then here's what's gonna happen. I want you to make sure that you watch for the vacancies. You know the WFH, but the WAO employers, they're gonna lose people that have gotten comfortable and probably spent a lot of money remodeling the bedroom to make it their home office that they're now not going to get to spend any time in. So what's going to happen is employers who are less flexible are going to lose employees who they now want to return to work. Okay, so in your line of questioning, you need to make sure that you understand what the policies actually are. But I actually have a feeling that what's going to happen is employers are going to start losing some people, and then they're going to start making some accommodations. So the thing I want some of you that are currently employed, generally like what you're doing, if you start to see this, don't react hastily. Okay, because your employers will probably want you to come back to the office, and then if people start quitting, they're probably going to relax those standards. Okay, so my message to you here is I want you to be careful. Wait, but not just this. This is a whole theme for all of these that I'm taking you through. I want you to be careful. I don't want you to be rash in your decisions. I don't want you to have an itchy trigger finger unless you want to, unless it's like, look, I'm really done with that. Okay, but if you're not quite sure, it's more prudent not to do anything unless you're sure. When you're sure, then you go. Okay, in all meanings of the word. Okay, and then the other thing is business travel. I do not think that business travel is going to skyrocket. I think it's going to take a little bit of an uptick. But this point A, are you flexible or not? So let's talk about both of them. Andy, I am flexible. I'm willing to travel a ton. I'm not willing to travel. That's it. I'm so happy being home. I like seeing the kids and so on. Let's take both scenarios. If you start to look at job descriptions and it says, 50% travel, and you're thinking, I can only really travel 20, you go. Okay, meaning it's nice that they say 50% travel, but you haven't gotten in there and filtered it out on the back end. And I'm going to give you a little story about Joe. So I want, my point to you is, if you have a requirement that says, I don't want to travel that much, do not eliminate opportunities where the travel component is high. Okay, that might be residual, that might be a pipe dream, it might be what they used to require in the way of traveling. Still go in. All right, so if you're saying, well, should I apply? I'm not really sure. Go, okay? Now, if you're not flexible, okay, that's what I mean. That if you're not flexible, you do that. If you are flexible, then what you need to do is use it to your advantage. So when you go in there, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I'm willing to come in every single day. I'm willing to fly all across the world for you. I'll do anything you need to, and then use it to your advantage. So pick and choose what you do based on your requirement. But my main message to you is don't eliminate things on paper because of your requirement. A lot of you do that. I know you do that. You don't submit your resume, you don't target the bosses, you don't chase them when you should, okay? And then the other thing is at the high travel stuff, I have a job search bootcamper, Joe. This was the guy with all the offers. And Joe is awesome. He runs, I don't know, Joe, if you're here, hey, he had his own business for a long time. And he sold his business to a larger company, and then after a few years of facilitating that process, he decided to leave. So he's not employed right now, and he wasn't really sure how to bring himself to market. He gets with me in the boot camp. We do a resume review. of his material, and then we did a coaching session with him. We did one coaching session to help him with his interviews, and he was interviewing with entrepreneurs in small startup companies, and he was interviewing with large companies, and then I also turned him on to interview with. I wanted him to target franchises, for him to run one. About a week or two later after our session, all of a sudden he emails me back. He says, okay, I did everything you said. I can't believe what happened. I never would have thought about the franchises. That in and of itself was worth the price of the coaching session, because now I got 2 more leads and these are going to turn into offers. I've got all these offers. Can we get together next week? So when I get the other 2 offers, we can get together and talk it through. One of the offers, now Joe has requirements where he does not want to travel a lot, if at all. He would rather be home and work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, because he's got other side jobs he wants to do. So he said, it was 50% travel, but we talked it through, and the owner realizes that we don't really need to do that. So something that I would not have looked at, I'm going to get an offer, and it's my favorite one, right? This little piece of advice right here could completely change the way in which you look at opportunities. 2 more offers because of having a session, and I told him you need to go look over there. Don't worry about the requirements. Don't worry about the don't worry. I know you have these things. Don't worry about them. And so this is not something I would always say to you. I'm saying it to you now because now it really matters. It's applicable now and in the next 100 days, let's say. Okay, because I'm not. In 100 days, I'm going to have another prediction, because I'm going to know a lot more in 3 months than I know today. But this is what I think right now. So I want to make sure that you are not eliminating these things, because these are the ones that knock you out before you start. Okay, wait, I got another one here. This is a sticky one. This goes back to my housing story and my buddy Mark next door who sold his house in 5 minutes. Watch the reloads. Okay, we're going to go through this here. Now, first thing I said was keep your target list open and wide. Yes. Because some companies, when you get in there, you can change the way they think about who can do that, where they can do that from, based on the skills you bring to the table, right? And I don't want to go too much into it, but from the time you start the interview process to the time you finish the interview process, you might think your goal is to get a job offer, and I would say no. Your goal is to get a job offer with a company you love, and along the way, between the time you start and the time you finish, it's to completely change the way they think about what it is that they're going to do and how much they're willing to pay for you to do it. Okay? You're going to change, right? The paradigm. You're going to change the way they think, because now I can't unsee you anymore. I can't unsee the new vision I have of what this role can be. And for that, I'm willing to pay more. Okay, so I want you to make sure you're looking anywhere, and then I want you to watch the packages. This is what's going to happen. Okay, I spent time telling you about the housing market for a reason. All right, so when you go into the process, it might say on a JD, no reload offered. In the screen, we don't offer reload. Bunk, nonsense. Ignore that. I don't care what you call it. If you can make it up in sign-on bonus, back-end bonus, salary, this and that, and so on, that to me is a good thing, right? You go in, and I want you to make sure though that you're keeping some things in mind when you get through this. Okay, when you get through the process and you get down to the end, and they say, "All right, this is great. Hey Andy, we want to hire you." There's going to be certain parameters as it relates to you moving. And here's the things I want you to watch out for. How long before I actually have to officially move? Because you could start your job from your remote city. That's one thing, time frame. You've got how much you can spend on me to move. How long do I have to wait? What's the retribution period should I leave? If I leave within a year, do I have to pay it all back? If I leave within 2 years, do I have to pay it all back? These kind of things. There's also things such as how much money they will give you in a daily stipend or to pay for an apartment or rent or whatever when you move. Okay, you want to make sure, based on what I'm telling you, right? What's the expression? Right now, inventory's low. If you got to move and you got to buy a house, how's the expression go? If you got to sleep on it, you won't sleep in it, right? Kind of thing. So you're acting really fast. You don't want to put yourself and back yourself in a corner where you actually have to do that. You want time where if you maybe put a bid in on a house, it doesn't go through, right? Is the employer going to give you enough insurance dollars, not technically insurance, but you know what I mean? Are they going to insure with you that you will have a certain amount of time before you need to officially move or before the temp housing fees stop or whatever? Are they going to buy your house from you? If they buy your house from, this happens a lot, right? Hey, we want to move you from Florida to Chicago so you can work with me. I'll buy your house and then I'll sell your house for you. 42% of houses are selling for more than their asking price. What are you going to negotiate with your employer to buy your house? When you move to Chicago, how much time is Andy going to give you to live in a hotel or live at the Residence Inn or wherever, or move your family? Or can you just stay where you are until you sell your house and then you're ready to move here? Okay, got two quick stories for you. Justin, I've talked about Justin in a number of different capacities, but one of the capacities, he was in Connecticut, he was going to be moving, and he got his job in the middle of the pandemic, and normally they say, well, executives need to move within 2 months. He said, well, I just moved my kid into a new school, and I want the stability for him. I don't want to move him out. They said, okay, 2 years. As long as you move within 2 years. All right, think about that. That would have been unfathomable had he gotten that job 6 months prior to when he did. I have another, actually a VIP coaching client, Shri. He's in Nashville, and he was getting job offers in New York and in Florida, actually near the Clearwater, Tampa area. And he said, Andy, they're really putting heat on me in Florida. I've even got to take a trip this weekend with my wife to look at house. This is a number of months back. A handful of months back. And he said, I'm getting really nervous because they're really putting pressure on me. This other opportunity isn't going to come through quite when they need it to. Maybe it's just a few days late. It's not really. It wasn't a long time, but it was this other company. They had itchy trigger fingers. He had to go down. He's looking at houses. They say, listen, we need to know right now. He said, I can't give you an answer today, right? And they're like, and we need you to move in like a week, and you need to be down here, kind of thing. So what happened? He ended up taking the other job in New York, which actually was a better job anyway, but the point of the story is they said, don't even worry about it. We don't even put a time frame on. If you could commute, kind of be here X number of days a month, you leave your family in Nashville, let the kids, graduate from school, do what you got to do. And so you want to make sure that you are considering these things, because your ability to move, dump your house, you might be able to dump your house, and then you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you've got to go to a new city and actually, you're losing out on your bids because people are outbidding you, or you're putting pressure on yourself just to have a house, because you're going to end up losing money if you don't love that house and you're going to sell it a year later, right? So just Think about these things. Now, let me just recap it with this. I gave you a bunch of these things, right? These industries. Pharma, talked about fashion and retail, right? This kind of stuff, hospitality, and so on, right? Now, I am not saying that every single part of every one of these industries is going to thrive. There are still going to be slower recovery processes. I think about, I tell my wife, you'll never get me on a cruise. Okay, it doesn't matter. I just don't want to be on a cruise. I don't want to be tied up. I don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere. It's just a thing with me. Okay. And I know people, they love the cruises, but if it requires a passport for everybody, meaning a vaccination passport for everybody in order for the ship to sail, so to speak, that might be a little slower process. Throwing together your conventions, that might be a little easier, right? So I want you to think about that. It's not every single area within every single sector or subsector. It's just in general, I'm telling you, there are going to be pickups in these. So then it's up to you to make sure that you take this information that I gave you, take the observations that I gave you, and you start looking at and thinking about, how is my situation going to be affected? What can I do to make a shift? right? And then what would be the consequences of that? All right, so folks, I know I went, I don't know how long that was, but I had a lot to unpack there. And so I hope you enjoyed that. Now, if you are with me here live, we're going to go to the Q&A. I have one announcement to make. If you are interested in more where I take a little bit of a deeper dive tomorrow, I have a multi-hour private group coaching session with people in my job search coaching program. Most of you know that as the boot camp, the job search boot camp. And what we're going to be doing is every several times throughout the year we meet, but at a minimum we meet once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Actually, May is going to be 8 times for private group coaching sessions. Our April session is tomorrow, April 16th, and we have put the program on special, and it ends, the special price ends tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. It's 1 p.m. Central is our coaching session. If you are interested, I'm taking this lesson down one more notch, and I'm going to talk about some of the things I want you to do and say and not do and say in the interviews and in the negotiations and things of that nature. And then there's some other things that I want to teach you, a few other frequently asked questions, and then we're going to go into a Q&A. And then the other thing is, if you're on the fence on this, but it's like, I'm kind of leaning, it's such a great time, and let me tell you why. Because in May, I think it's like the second week of May 11th, May 13th, May 18th, and May 20th, I'm running a job search mini camp. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be better than awesome. And people who are in my job search boot camp are going to be invited into a private Zoom room with me, and we're going to have the Q&As for them and other VIP passes that we're going to offer to everybody. But there's those 4, and then after those 2 weeks, we're going to meet like Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. The following, so like May is just a great time, and I wanted to do this. I'm just totally amped up about what's happening in the market. You need the ammunition, people. You need the ammunition. And so I want to be there for you. So we're going to be doing that. So if you're interested, Kara maybe she's dropped the link in the chat. If you have any questions, support@milewalk.com. And also, if you are already a member of the paying member of the Mile Walk Academy, like maybe you've got the interview intervention and the job interview mastery program, or maybe you've got the resume writing workshop or something of that nature where you've paid $100 or $300 or whatever it might be, we apply those dollars toward the job search bootcamp, which is now on special for $497. So you only pay the difference. So if you got any questions, just email us. Carol loves emails, she told me. And she's happy to help you, and we'll make sure we take care of you. But I hope you enjoyed this. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I want you to get this stuff. And if you enjoyed this, give me a Heidi thumbs up. YouTube loves the like button. I love the like button. Who doesn't love the like button? So give me a press there too. And then let's go to some questions. And Stacy's telling me, let's see. Stacy, that thing that you slacked me there, I need to take these somewhat in order. But let me. Okay. Actually, you know what? Kara has given me a few items here. Hang on. Before I get into questions, she's got some things that are related to the topic. Lee Dollar is a boot camper. I know Lee Dollar is a boot camper because Lee Dollar, I just emailed you from your story the other day. That was great. To add some facts to what Andy's predicting, in my wife's company, a Fortune 1000 consumer goods company, they're spending tons of time, money, agency work right now to launch initiatives in June and July. Hey, look, your clock starts now. Right? That's awesome. I appreciate that, Lee. I really do. And you guys are a wonderful source of information for me, but you're also a wonderful source of information for everybody in the community. Maureen, Commercial real estate is much different than residential real estate. Worked in both. Companies are rethinking their business plan, and some may downsize and make some staff virtual. I said this back in March of 2020, that the commercial industry was going to take years to recover because these are multi-year contracts and leases that they have with organizations. So either companies have to break out of them if they're doing what Maureen is saying, right? Or when they're up for renewal, they're not going to renew. So that's true. That's true. Andrea O'Connell, yep, hubby works for a fireplace company and they have been slammed for the past month. I cannot get. I wanted to do this little remodeling thing on my house. And when I say I mean my wife. And I mean, they came and they gave us a bid that actually was twice the bid that they told. I said, give me a neighborhood of what you're thinking for that remodeling. He's like, 18,000. I said, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Bid 37,000. Never even bothered to say, hey, you got any questions? And hey, maybe if you take this out or take that out, we can really substantially this. Never even bothered to follow up. Why? They're busy. He doesn't even, I don't want to pay his $37,000. He's going to come back. So that's true. Jeff Brace, this is a great question. Should I mention that I'm willing to go back in the office in my cover letter? Yes. Okay. I wouldn't normally tell you to do this. I'm telling you to do this now. I am happy to work in the office full time. That is not silly to put in your cover letter. I'm open to working in whatever model you have, kind of thing. If that gives you a leg up, it gives you a leg up, right? It's not going to hurt you. So that's awesome. Let me see. Jonathan Lott, what does my crystal ball say about oil and gas? Got decimated in last year, but they go forward with caution or boom. So I'm bullish on that. But I often, I'm gonna say this, like, I don't want to give you a cop-out answer. There are, the reason that I rarely will comment on that, and you will probably note this if you really dig back into the Andy archives of whatever you could remember that I've ever said. I am not a fan, personally, of commenting on industries where things that are so far outside of normal business economics will shape what happens to them. OPEC highly regulated this, regulated that. Who wants to constrict production of their oil to inflate prices and do this and that? Like, by the way, I was in oil and gas for 10 years. Okay, that was as an IT consultant. 90% of the work I did was in the oil and gas sector. So I kind of stay away from that. I don't know. Sherry worked for a cruise line 25. They're still not sailing over a year. Right? It was one of the, right? That's true. Right? There's still a lot of them that are not doing this. Let me see. Let's see. Banking and finance. Okay, Deborah Chapman asked, banking and finance. Well, there are, okay, so I interact with Chase. Everything that they're doing is basically done to make my life easier. I refinanced my house, and while that, to me, there's financial components there. My banker gets me to the agent who does this and that. I have bankers who are offering me, different types of programs as a small business owner. I don't take advantage of them. I'm just saying that they're there. And when I look at the financial sector, I think it's very healthy. I really do. I think there are adjustments that they need to make. And every time the financial sector makes proper adjustments, it benefits them. Every time but they tend to be overreactors to shifts in the market. So what do I mean by that? Well, remember back in the day when everybody was buying a house and they were mortgaged to the hilt, and banks and lenders were giving loans to people who didn't earn enough, that were so leveraged, couldn't pay their rent when the bubble burst, And now it's like when you try to get a loan, if you're self-employed or any of these other things where you don't have just a steady old paycheck, it's crazy what you have to go through in order to do anything. So, but I actually am bullish on banking and finance as well. I am. I really am. I just think that the markets are going to be kind for a while. It has a lot to do with they were fundamentally sound when we got hit, and there's just a lot of good news in the world right now. And I think there's always good news in the world. I think the media, kind of squashes it and suppresses it because, as my favorite journalists and my TV anchors say to me, Andy, if it bleeds, it leads, kind of thing. So, I hope that helps on that one. And then why don't I get into, let me see, how was that? I need to go back to the chat. And I got, let me see, Mr. LaDuce. How and when do we share letters of recommendation with a prospective employee? Stacy is going to love this because I don't know if we have this one. So I say never. So I would never share a letter of recommendation. I wouldn't want to see a letter of recommendation. I don't want to have to read something from somebody who I know is going to write glowing things about you. This has nothing to do with you. This is, I don't put any stock in them, and I don't want to spend any time reading them, okay? It's nothing to do with you. It's just that I'm going to spend my time talking to you, drilling down to, are you the right fit for my company? I don't even check references, okay, kind of thing. I would try to tell my clients, meaning the hiring companies with my job camp, what are you going to check references for? You're going to go spend your time, talk to 3 people that are going to say great things about this person, kind of thing. So that's my view. Let me give you one more. Do not attach references, letters of recommendation, or anything in any communication you have to somebody you do not know who has not asked for them. The one and only time I would ever give somebody a letter of recommendation or a letter of reference is if somebody asked me, Andy, do you have any letters of recommendation or letters of reference that you can send me? That is the only time, one and only time. Hope that helps, and hope that helps. Dana, great to see you. I know Dana, I biked this morning. I'm strength training this afternoon, and I'm you don't even want to know what I have to do tomorrow and over the way. Iman, how do from Germany? Hey, Andy, your thoughts on online application submission? How to verify it doesn't land in the black hole? Any follow-up tactics after a no reply email? I'm assuming you mean there was no reply to your email. Okay, Iman, much like Mr. LaDuce, I would say to you, my thoughts on application submission is never to do one. Like, I'm not being funny, folks. I know some of you have to do this. It would be my absolute last resort would be to submit a resume into an applicant tracking system. They're a black hole. They're the abyss. And even if I've given you stats in various times and places, but on average, 2 to 4% of resumes are ever seen. And even if you're qualified, doesn't mean that it will get seen. And the more senior you are, the more that number goes down. And so I would just never do it. I would try to find a boss first. I would try to find probably a teammate second. I would go to a recruiter and an HR person third. And then I would repeat the process until I found somebody. And if I absolutely was exhausted and couldn't find anybody, I would put it in the applicant tracking system. That's what I would do. And if there's no reply, I would go repeat my process as if you never submitted it because they never saw it in the first place. That's what I think there. Hope that helps. Gary McNeil, how do? Emiliana, what type of questions should you expect to be asked on the second interview? Well, it depends on who you're interviewing with. I have given you all the questions. See that book back there? That one? Whoop. right there, Interview Intervention. I would grab that book. There is a chapter called My Silver Bullet Interview Chapter. Those are the types of questions generally. If you are going in, and then there's the 14 most effective interview questions I think an employer can ask. There's 43 variations of those questions and why they're asking them and the very best responses. Now, if you are in an interview, I'm saying you're qualified, otherwise they wouldn't be talking to you. I would also say that what the book does not cover is your specific domain expertise. So if you are a technical writer, if you are a project manager, if you are an accountant, I don't have accountant-based questions in there. That's what's called a technical screen. They're going to ask you questions about how you do what you do. Those are going to be in the interview process somewhere. Now, the second interview, I don't know whether they're going to be in the first interview, the second, the third, or whenever, but I would point you to that. And the other thing I would point you to is I would check out my video on, I don't know what the full title is because I shot it a number of years back, but it still holds true about acing the second job interview. And tips for the second job interview. Maybe Stacy can rustle me up, or I should say rustle you up that video. But lots of luck. Hey, Mom, love ya. Daniel Gomez from Kissimmee, Florida. A job has been posted for over a month. What is the best way to find out if it's still opening? Is it still worth applying? Okay, Daniel Gomez, it doesn't matter to me how long the job has been open. I'm going. And if the job was open and then not there anymore, I still would try to find the boss and highlight my credentials and send them in. I don't even care. I would target the company. I wouldn't even ask, is it still open? I would just go. You could apply, or you could boss hunt, or you can recruiter hunt, or you can go into a teammate hunt, or whatever. It is worth applying. Tony P. From Dunedin. Okay, this morning, my wife and I, you guys think I'm kidding about my wife. Like at least 3 times a day. Hey, listen, she says, our friends, okay, this is how LaCivitas roll. We got married in December 2015. We took our friends on our honeymoon. It was like a last minute, hey, anybody want to go with us? We're going to go, and we're going to go to Clearwater, Florida, and we're staying at this place called Sampral. And then what's happened is we've gone back like 1 or 2 times every year since, and then our friends come with us, and now our friends are going in a week or 2 without us. And my wife is just beside herself because she's like, we introduced everybody to this place, and we can't even go with them, and now when can we go? So I said, listen, just wait until the shot's over with and my boot camp's over with and May's over with, and then we'll go take a trip. And then she gets to work today and she texts me again. She's like, are you sure we still can't go? Tony P, she wants to come see you, brother. Oh, man. I tell you guys think I'm kidding. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. I ain't that creative. Amanda C. Expecting an offer from a sales hiring manager said he would get on a call with me to make sure I understand the offer, base, bonus, equity, how to approach negotiating if he wants to do it on this call. Amanda C. Here's what you get. I'm only giving you this today. All right? This is a fantastic question. Okay, sorry about that. All right. Number 1. Please go watch my salary negotiation playlist. Whatever's out in the public is going to be in there. Otherwise, I don't believe you're in the boot camp. If you're in the boot camp, there's way more, and it's in Module 5 in the Job Search Bootcamp. Now, if you're expecting an offer, that means I have not seen it yet. If the hiring manager opens his mouth and says, Amanda, let's be generous. Here's your $250,000 base. Here's your $100,000 bonus. Here's your $28,000 restricted stock units. You say, this is great. I'm excited. I want to be part of the team. And I'd love to make, if this is true, I'd love to make this work. I need some time to look at it. Thank you for explaining everything to me. Okay? Is there any wiggle room? And when you say, is there any wiggle room, or pick whatever expression you want, I like the word wiggle because it doesn't sound like more. It just sounds like, can we massage some stuff? He's going to say one of four things, but it's going to be something like, what would you want? No, there's not. Right? Like, there's, we can or cannot do this, or I'm surprised you're unhappy, or whatever. No matter what he says, you say, oh, I just was curious. I just wanted to understand. I would like to go and look at this. I want to go and look at this and read all the details in full. You never respond or negotiate right then. You are not prepared to negotiate. You do not know all the factors. You do not understand fully what is negotiable. You will not have collected your thoughts in how to explain your rationale, what you should explain, what line of questioning you should go through. Okay? Rule number 1 in negotiating is don't open your mouth until you have all the facts. What does that mean, people? It means you have to ask questions first. Right? You don't know what they think of you until they actually give you an offer, which is why it's ridiculous for you to say, I would like $250,000, I would like $100,000. Don't tell them anything. You don't know what they're thinking. So the first thing is get more information about what they're thinking. He's going to tell you. They're going to present the offer. He's going to explain it. Awesome. You're going to get some insight. Then you need to go and read it. I don't know if you're married or have a partner, you might want to go talk to somebody. You got a coach? You call Andy and say, can we have a session? Right? Kind of thing. So you do not negotiate right then. You go collect your thoughts. You think of the different scenarios that you're comfortable with, meaning that I would be okay with this, I would be okay with this, I would be okay with this. He might say, I can't give you any more equity. It's okay. Bonus got to go up. Base got to go up. He say, I can't give you any more base. How much equity can you give me? Right? How much more vacation can you give me? Can you pay, whatever. So everything is negotiable. So keep that in mind. Now, they may say, no, we can't change that. It's still negotiable if you want to press them or walk away. But that's how I would approach that. I really would go watch my salary negotiation playlist. I really would. All right, check that out. Hope that helps. Baby girl, how do? Rajat, question, taken up a permanent remote job for a U.S. firm. What kind of remote career growth can be expected as headquarters is in the U.S.? Raj, I wish I could tell you. I have no idea. This is all different for each individual company. One thing I would advise you as your coach is I would say, you got to ask the question. Right? I don't know that. And, MileWalk's a small company. The career growth comes in different forms. Career growth comes in just being around each other and learning more things. Career growth comes in investigating new things, new tools, learning new concepts, and so on. Maybe you're getting paid to go take training, maybe not. I don't know. You gotta ask. It's a great question to ask the employer. So lots of luck on that. Ihamada 1004. Greetings from Vegas. Have followed Andy's YouTube presentation for several months. The advice helped me negotiate a good salary for an IT leadership position. Congratulations. Can we give Ihamada, I don't know if that's your name, a huge congratulations. And Mike Rose, hey, buddy, great talking to you. What was it, Wednesday? Lots of luck today and tomorrow. Joshua, finally secured a job. Okay, so my boot camper. All right, finally secured a job last week. Thank you for all the help and advice along. Without it, I likely, oh my goodness, hold on. Let's just get this. Buddy, without it, I likely wouldn't have found the job and would probably be making 25 to 35K less. Folks, do you think his $500 was worth it? Come on, man, get in there with me. And it's a great community too. It really is so fun. Joshua, can we all give my boot camper Joshua a huge high 10? Look, is it true? Do we have 90? Is that right? I just looked at the thing. Do we have 99 likes on this? That's awesome. Thank you so much, my dear community. Can we give Joshua a high 10 for his new job? And that is absolutely awesome. And Aylin, my lifer, my boot camper, my leader, yes, you are all around awesome. And wait, where's your, where's the matching cup and the t-shirt? And Keith, my boot camper. And Smita, my boot camper. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Smita, hey. Company I applied to replied, they received my application and I'm on their list. What does this mean? Smita, let's not overcomplicate it. It's probably a form letter. And if you applied, they received your application, it's probably an auto response that they send to everybody. So I don't know one way or another. A lot of companies don't even send these, but it doesn't mean that they're actually thoroughly reviewing it. But it's difficult for me to tell. But it's probably just an auto responder. So anybody who submits it, they just kick back, hey, we got it. I would still continue and look for the boss. Grace Under Pressure. Hey, Andy, I'm targeting a 6-month contract with a company. Interview tomorrow. Good luck. In the hope of getting a foot in the door for a better role with them later. Is this approach wise? And then I see you said something else. Given that November might not be an ideal for job searching if it doesn't go according to plan. All right, Grace, let's go backwards. November is one of Andy's favorite months to look for a job. Why? Okay. Much like we have some new inspiration because I got the shot in the arm right now, generally inherently built into the calendar, which is not always fiscal, but January is new inspirations, new budgets, new projects for most companies. Not all companies, but most companies. And even the ones whose fiscal year is March or April or August or whatever, they still know that the job force is mobile in January because a lot of companies give bonuses in December and in January, raises and promotions in December and January, and so on. October tends to be planning month. So October is like, okay, what do we need to do for the rest of the year to get everything in order? And then what are we going to look like in January? What projects are we going to kick off? What budgets are we going to get set? A lot of times they need to go through approval processes and things of that nature to make sure that that stuff is in order. Well, then what happens is November rolls around. They're like, uh-oh, well, hang on. I need to start recruiting people because I need them in the seats in January to get those projects running. November, December is phenomenal months to be looking. For you, all this sounds great. If it's a 6-month contract, go take it. If you like the company, number one, wait, let's just talk about what's good about this. You get a foot in the door. You get some money coming in the house. You get a chance to prove yourself. You go through it. Let's say November rolls around. Maybe they extend you. Maybe they hire you full out. Maybe you just start looking for a job when Andy's running his job search challenge, right? Kind of thing. This is great. I would do it. Now, I don't know that she's here, but I had, she's just so awesome. I had just a casual wine call last night with one of my boot campers in Canada, and we were prepping because I want to do a little video interview of her. And we're going to do that next week. And she was from Iran, and she moved to Canada and got stuck in Canada, she and her husband, March 2020, because the pandemic started. They were looking to relocate. They just weren't looking to relocate right then. But anyway, they did. And so she was struggling for 10 months, it wasn't going well. She's very smart. Husband's very smart. Her English was really good. His was not as good. He's still learning it. And so she struggled for 10 months, got in the boot camp. Within 8 weeks, she not only had a contract like the one, Grace, you're talking about, she took it 3 days, but she kept doing my job search challenge, and she kept working the boot camp, the job search boot camp, and a recruiter had ended up reaching out to her 3 days into her new contract. She ended up getting the job and is with one of the largest manufacturers of pipes in North America. And she's just blown away. I mean, didn't have a network, didn't know any, wasn't sure what she was worth, had no confidence, was really concerned. And, but I just say when you're in motion and even taking contracts is a good idea, you can continue to look. And I'm just telling you, being in motion, good stuff happens. Sticking your resume in applicant tracking systems does not often lead to great stuff happening. So I go, girl. I really would. I really would. If you like the opportunity, but don't be thinking about November. Be thinking about April 15th. Okay? So that's what you got to do. Baby girl's got offers coming in. Process of reviewing job offer letters. Received one final offer letter yesterday from HR and going through a headhunter. Told the headhunter need till Monday to make my decision. Wait. Okay, wait. Now you're getting a little fancy on me here. I know you only got so many characters. Let's see. Told headhunter need till Monday to make final decision. Sent HR to review letter date for Monday. Please advise. All good. This is Thursday. Even if this was last Monday, okay? Shouldn't be any problem. I'm assuming you're asking me about whether that's okay. It is, okay. All good. Good luck. Dawn Parcell? Hi, Andy. My name is Dawn, and I just 5 minutes ago joined the boot camp. I love it. Dawn, tomorrow, you're going to get an email that says in the subject line, please share your story with me. It has some questions. I would like your information, please. Send it to me so I can read it this weekend. Awesome. Danielle Phillips, did you get my email? A big thank you and good morning from Los Angeles. Finally secured my dream job this week after following your guidance. This is a boot camper and a leader and one of my favorite YouTube pictures. I just love it. Danielle, I am so happy for you. Will you do me a favor and please send me an email with the story of this? Folks, I love to hear this stuff. I do. I need to hear it. I want to hear it. I worked really hard to get you to connect with me, and I worked really hard to get you in the program, and I worked really hard to support you. So I want to celebrate the victories with you. And if you're in the community and you're not in the premium stuff, I want to celebrate your victories with you too. It all means so much to me. Go get him, girl. And Bob, my boot camper and leader. And Kurt. Oh, dude, your email. I was loving it. Good morning to you. It's actually sunny in Seattle. Tarania. Is that how you say it? Tarania. I loved your picture in the system. So one of the things, if you're in the Mile Walk Academy and you're in the system and you're in the job search boot camp, or you're in my leadership program, or you're in some of my other programs, we have a system, and you put your profile in the system, and you can put your picture. And I loved the swap of your picture from the teacup to your beautiful face. I love it. You are my cup of tea, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the boot camp. I really do. And Jeff's a boot camper, and Ayla, there it is. Okay, can I just say, because I'm not wearing it, but Aylin and so I sent her this coffee mug. Can you see that? The coffee mug that I had a couple weeks ago at the live show. She's like, where did you get that? I would like one. And I just said, don't worry about it. I'll just send one to Canada for you. So I ordered it for her and I sent it. And I said, okay, I shipped it. And can you do me a favor? And do you think we should get matching t-shirts? Or like, let me know when you get it. Do me a favor, let me know when you get it. And do you think we should get matching t-shirts so that at our next private session, we can be twinsies? So I looked like, I didn't look, as nice as she does, but that's what I looked like with my mug and my t-shirt that she sent me on, was it Friday at our leadership program, which I love. And thank you for that. You're so awesome. And, there it is. Oh, there we go. You guys are great, man. This is just, slip of the hand, dang. Hey, I lost my place. Sorry about that, guys. Hang tight. There's so many. Hold on. Where was that? Dang. Sorry, guys. Hold on. So what happens sometimes when I hit the cursor, I have one of those little track pads. Oh my God. How far down did I go? Hang on. I'm almost there. All right, here we go. I'm back. Whoops, logged out and in with the other account. Hello. Deb, how are you? Mark Godin. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Andy, hold on. Let's see. What do we got here? Hey, Andy. Oh, hey to you. I'm about to become a boot camper. Yay. After 5 rounds of interviews, I think I'm being ghosted by the recruiter who hasn't responded to follow-up email after 7 days. Any tips? Yes. So number one, yay. I can't wait to get you in the program. Number 2, I'm wondering if I'm not sure. Did you email me in the support queue? Kara handles this. I thought I might have saw something from you. Anyway, if you did, I hope you do get in. After 5 rounds of interviews, okay, now you're entrenched with them. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, you're family at this point. Meaning, like, you go through this many interviews with somebody. Now, after 5 rounds of interviews, I'm assuming that means on 5 separate occasions, you did, like, it wasn't like one day and then you met everybody, 5 different people. I'm assuming you mean 5 rounds. Recruitment screen or screen with the HR person, maybe an opener with the hiring official, maybe a tech screen, maybe, something like that. You go with a few other folks. And then you think you're being ghosted by the recruiter who hasn't responded to your follow-up email after 7 days. Now, one of the things that I would say is, I don't know if this is a corporate recruiter or an executive recruiter. Either which way, they should be responding. One of the things that you need to do when you respond after any interview, and if you are in the boot camp, you're going to have access to the video where I go through all this. But it's when you close up an interview and you reach back to, you're talking with the people, you're closing it up, you want to know what's the next step, who's going to contact me, and by when. If you don't get those answers, you don't know how long it's going to be before they contact you. You could go through 5 rounds, and I could say to you, we've got other people that I have to catch up. It's going to be a couple of weeks. If you knew that, you wouldn't feel like you're being ghosted. Now, I have no idea what's happening, but the one thing that I would tell you as your coach is you got to get the information to be able to gauge that. So if they say, we'll get to you within a week, they haven't ghosted you yet. If they say, I'm going to call you tomorrow, that's a problem. If they say, I'm not sure when we're going to get to you because we have these 3 other people, then you say, okay, can we take a checkpoint in a week or so to see how you're progressing, just so I can understand what the timing might be. Now, if you didn't do that, and you sent an email, and let's say you sent a thank you email to the recruiter after your interviews were done. You say, okay, my 5th round, I'm really liking this. I want to get in there. I'm excited about the opportunity. I feel like we're going to be a great match. Can you let me know what the next step would be, by when that would occur, and so on. If you didn't do that, and it's a week later, I would send them an email, say, hey, I know it's been a week, or it's been a week. I figured I would check in again. I'm still greatly interested. Can you let me know if there's any update? If you say this to them, you want to give them a call to action. That's a question mark. What, do you have any update? Means respond to me. However, you want to drive home the call to action that says, if you do not have any updates, can you please let me know that, and also let me know by when you think you will? Question mark. Okay, you have to be really explicit when you go back to the person. You want to elicit a response of some kind, even if it's, hey, Mark, we're not sure, right? Or, hey, Mark, I got 3 other people, and, oh, sorry, the hiring manager got COVID, right? Like, you never know what happened, but you're really not going to know unless you get an idea. Because if they would say, hey, we're going to call you in 2 days, and they don't, and it's been a week, that to me that's a problem. What I probably would do is I would drop them an email. If they've been responsive, so without knowing and living this with you, I might give you a little bit different counsel depending on the answers to a number of my questions. If they've generally been responsive through the 5 rounds, then I would actually email them, and then I would wait a week and I would call them. Okay, because it's surprising, because this is odd behavior. Okay, if they have not been responsive, I probably would email them a week later and then email them a week later. But I at this point, I don't think that, number one, you're not in crazy land here. It's only been 7 days. It's a question of, is this normal behavior for them? And if you ask them when they were going to get back to you. If they didn't, or if you didn't ask that, you just don't know. So I guess long story long, you need to check in with them, but make sure that you give them the call to action and you tell them that, even because like if somebody says, well, I didn't get back to you because I don't know anything. All right, well, tell me that, right? And tell me what would you expect it to be, right? They owe you that. 5 rounds. Okay, this isn't like you did a screen, which I also think is terrible, but this is I'd get in there and ask them. Let's see. Oh, I should answer those. Kara, thank you for that. I do want to address the mini camp. That's good. Okay. You heard me in my Andy-like fashion tell you I'm super excited about this job search mini camp that I have. So I don't want to get you confused on all the stuff Andy has. Tomorrow, there is my job search coaching program, which is my full signature, all out. That's the boot camp. We meet tomorrow. It's a private coaching session for people who have paid and enrolled to be in the program. You have until 1 o'clock tomorrow to get it at a special price. Now, May 11th, 13th, May 18th, and 20th, we have a teaching portion of different sections of the job search. You are going to love this. The resume, the job searching, the interviewing, and the salary negotiation. I'm going to teach for about an hour or so. I've got case studies I want to present to you guys, and people that I want you to hear from. All this is going to be great. Everybody is invited to that. That's for the public. The private Q&A and the workbook that goes along with this, the templates that go along with this, the private Q&A and all that, it's free for boot campers if you're in the boot camp program, and it'll be $47 for other people if you'd like this VIP perks that we're offering for this program. If you're in my job search boot camp, I was going to tell you all about this tomorrow and let you know not to do anything, and we're going to send you your meeting invite to get the Zoom room and put it on your calendar and all that good stuff. It is going to be so good. I'm doing some stuff that to give you a taste. I'm so excited about this. Like the searching part, I am breaking down every single aspect of boss hunting. You do this, you say this, here's the template. When they do this, here's the template. When they say this, you do this, and all on. I'm going to take you through every combination of all the things. And it's just one of the sessions. So it's really going to be good. And if you want to get into the program, it's great to be in the boot camp. If you're not really sure, you want to check out the perks pass or whatever we're calling it for the mini camp, and you're not in any of my programs, it'll be $47, and then you can come to the private Zoom sessions. We're trying something a little different this time. I'm trying to enhance the experience, give more, and just charge a little bit so that we can recover our expenses for some of this stuff and all the time I put into it. But it's going to be great. And boot campers, if you're in the boot camp, you don't have to pay for anything. When you're in the boot camp, you don't have to pay unless you want my time, like a coaching session with me or a resume review. You don't have to pay for any of that stuff. It's a great deal. It's really a great deal. And then lead dollar. So for boot campers, should we pause our work through your current? No. You keep going through my current stuff. What's the difference between the job search mini camp and the job search boot camp? Okay, Hanyin, when you're in the boot camp, the job search boot camp is every single imaginable thing you need to start and finish your job search and find your job successfully. It's all recorded. It's all deep. It's the system, the tools, the templates, the structure, the everything. You also get online support, so you get to actually interact with me every day if you want through the system. You ask me questions, I answer you. Okay, it's the online support part. Then there's the group coaching. We do about 24. Last year, I think we did 26. The year before, I think we did 36 private group coaching sessions, like the ones I'm talking about at the back half of May, where there's going to be 4 more. There's one tomorrow. There's 4 in the back of May, and plus all the boot campers get free coaching in the mini camp. The mini camp is I'm taking a lesson from each segment of the job search. So like on resume writing, I'm not going to teach you how to write the whole resume. It would take me hours and hours and hours. I'm going to talk to you about how to write certain aspects of the resume to help you not only, well, add more power to it, but what the content you should be putting in the bullets, how you should say what you should say, what that will do for you in the interviews. In the searching part, I'm going to be teaching about boss hunting. That's only one element of searching. In interviewing, I'm taking you through some great stuff, and on salary negotiation, I'm taking you through some great stuff. But it's only it's one sliver. So the mini camp is truly a mini camp, and the boot camp is like the full training camp. So I hope that helps. That's a great question. These are not even close in the level of detail that you're going to get. That's not to poo-poo the mini camp. It's to talk about how deep the boot camp is. Boot camp's been built over 4 years. Thousands and thousands of people from more than 100 countries have been through it. It's really great. All ages, 22 to 75. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Oh, I like to think so. All right, I hope that helped there. And let me, Jetting Chen and Valeria, those are boot campers. And now apparently Dawn is a boot camper. Hey, Stacy. Erwin De La Pena is a boot camper. And Miss Marie from London is a boot camper. And Robert Peterson is a boot camper. And TC, yes, is my cup of tea, is a boot camper. And Jim R., can you guys share? And Victor, can you guys share? And Nelson from Honduras, how are you? Can you guys share your experience? I'm like, I love this program. I mean, I spent a lot of time together. If you are in the boot camp in the beginning of March, I let you come to all my productivity challenge every Monday in March. We built a whole course for my leadership coaching, but I let my boot campers, my job search boot campers, come to that. Tracy, how are you? Keith W. is a boot camper, and let's get his question in here. Have a friend who recommended me for 2 jobs in the ATS. He just followed up with a recommendation email with my resume to 4 managers in the department. What is the best way to follow up on the email? So Keith, you know what I'm going to say here. Anytime you have a reference, everybody, anytime somebody refers you to somebody via email, before they do that, you need a game plan. So, okay, you send it to this manager. You're going to send it to this manager, and you're going to say in your email, will you do me a favor? Please look this over and let me know one way or another. Can you let me know at least how long it's going to take you to look at this and whether you're going to respond, this and that? Can you let me know? Like, you got to set up what the follow-up is going to be. Or I could have Keith follow up with you directly. Can you let me know what you would prefer? Something like that. You have to tee up what is going to happen in the call to action. What is going to happen after I send this to you? You never leave that open, ever. Okay, you're going to send it. When you send it, what are we going to ask this person to do? And then if they don't do that, then what are we going to do? And you should have that dialogue before anybody sends your stuff. Okay, so the best way to follow up is I don't know, because I would have determined what their responses are going to be. I would probably have my friend email each one of those 4 people and say, hey, it's been a week. I just wanted to check back into this. I wanted to see if you were at all interested. I'd be happy to let my friend know if or if not, or I'd be happy to have my friend follow up with you. That's how I would go about that. The moral of the story, not just for Keith, but for all of you, before you take the step, what's the next move, right? You don't move the pawn out until you know what your next move is, right? So always make sure you go into a negotiation. I'm going to say is their wiggle room. What's the next move? They're going to say this, or this. What would I say to that, or that? That's how you got to be thinking, right? So when I send this to the boss is either, who I don't know, is either not going to reply, is going to reply, no thank you, is going to say, hey, Andy, you're awesome, we want to talk to you. Or, hey, Andy, you're awesome, but I don't run this department, it's Susie down the hall. Right? Oh, wait, hang on, I'll have my recruiter reach out to you. Like, all of these things can happen. You need to know, what am I going to say to that? Right? To each one of those, what will I do when? That's what you got to do. You got to line that up. All right, hey, folks, I got to get out of here. I love this session. Thank you so much. For being, oh man, it's still almost a couple hundred of you still here. Man, you guys are awesome. Listen, if you're interested in joining the Job Search Coaching Program, which is the boot camp, the Job Search Boot Camp, got a session tomorrow at 1 o'clock. More of this stuff. We got obviously, still a bunch of people, but which I do my best to try to answer your questions. And you get the whole program. It's self-paced. It's got everything you need. Please check out the page. Check out the testimonials. I'm now writing in your emails. There is a job search doppelganger out there for you, meaning somebody that looks like you is on that page, who's overcome the challenges you've come. They've tried to move to new countries. They've tried to change careers. They've tried to start their own businesses. They're 74 years old. They're 22 years old. They're 30 years old, changing jobs for the first time. There's somebody on there that looks like you. And if there isn't, I guarantee you there is somebody in the program who's already figured it out, or we figured it out for them. So jump in. Come to me. Come to me. All right, guys, be good. I'll see some of you tomorrow. Take care.